What's the name of this podcast?
So I was thinking of calling this smoking reveal
It's not. It's
exclusive
about
content, isn't it? People didn't
vape.
know that. People thought your sort of
We could,
body
we could
was a temple.
do what the fuck we want now.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
there's no brands watching.
Yeah, well,
So,
hopefully. I do have a bit of fear of one of the patrons sabotaging us, and
in what
for
respect?
the low price of $3, and taking us, basically taking something that I say on here and doing us. But that said, do you know what we should do? Do you know what we should do actually? So the pod went out yesterday. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I saw it. I've
Okay.
watched
Watched a
8 minutes of it.
Fantastic. We could review the pod or previous pods. That could be one thing that we could do.
Okay, go on.
We could also do. You want to tell the Peckham story, which you teased?
I just think it's relatively interesting.
Okay. I'd like
And
to talk about Rebecca Vardy. And
I've got another virgin mentality.
you've got a new one. There's a new
Another.
version. Or another example of it.
Yeah, I was making a cup of tea before we started recording, and people that put too much sugar in a tea are virgins.
Really?
Yeah, it's like how old are you? Like, you're 8 years old if you put more than half a spoon of sugar in your tea, and if you're 8 years old, God willing, you're a virgin.
Do you know what I do? I mean, I sometimes, as a treat, have a load of sugar in my tea. Almost like it's almost like a pudding.
What do you mean loads of sugar? How much are you talking about?
Like 3.
3 sugars?
Yeah.
You are a fucking child.
I'm in that case.
You know,
I'm in that
do you know?
case.
I know. Do you know? Also, I get someone a virgin mentality as well. Someone throw at me once because I like ketchup.
Yeah,
But
on everything, don't you?
not on everything, like, but
Do you
on
remember when
lots.
you went mental last year?
What?
You got angry about the sauce.
Yeah, that's because you put sauce on. People don't like if they've got baked beans on their plate, they don't have ketchup. But I mean, it tastes completely different.
Do you know
Like,
what
if you're having a fry up, you put ketchup on your plate. Yeah, you do.
I'm not huge on ketchup, generally.
Well, that's fine, but
I'm
don't
a
dig me out.
mayonnaise guy.
Don't dig me out. You can't. What? You're going to put mayonnaise on your fry up? Don't tell me you've ever done that.
No, I don't think I would.
Do you know what is quite nice? Like, you know, you made a nice ragu, yeah, some penne, bit of ragu, yeah, or an arrabbiata. The next day, it cold with a little bit of mayonnaise.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I know. It's not something. It ain't something I admit to. It's not something I'd go around telling everybody because you're, one of my closest friends.
Because we're in a closed sort of circle now, and I actually just got it up. So the patrons, we've got a few $10ers. So Tip the Footy, he did it last night. Owen Lawrence, Mohammed Lackey.
I'm not so keen on
Liam.
Owen. I'm not so keen on Owen.
Not sure about Owen.
No, not really. It's just a little bit. Is he? What's he about?
Well, actually, we can massively dig out Owen Lawrence and Mohammed because they were $10 and they've gone down to 7.
Well, so what? They're not 10.
Or have they gone up? No, they might have gone up. I don't know. They've gone up. They've gone up. Well done.
Either way, they've gone up.
It's very confusing.
Either way, they're digging it. They've got. Remember stuff. How old are they?
How old are they? I don't know. It didn't say their age.
Message them. Find out if they're under 18. Then that's impressive. Like, you're spending
Yeah, that's true.
$10 on this shit.
So because I'm not totally sure if they are paying $10 or not, I think they are. I'm just going to give them all a nice shout out because there's a good amount, but not too many, so we don't look pathetic, if that makes sense. So Tip the Footy, Owen Lawrence, Liam, Aaron Hillary, Andrew Ravi, Ethan Hopfer, who was the BDA this week. He was the guy who sent the advice. So
let us know how you got on, mate.
Yeah, let us know how you get on, mate. Christian Smith, Mohammed Lackey, Joe Sharples, Daniel O'Sullivan, and Jacob Giamo.
Shit, how many is that? That's like all that money. All that money.
To make great content. To really hone our craft.
They'll be the
judges of that.
They'll be the judges of that, Jim.
True.
You know what I mean?
So quick
I feel a bit
review.
weird. Sorry. I feel a bit weird because I need to look into the webcam, so it looks like we're having a conversation with each other. But you're down there on this part of the screen, so I feel like I'm boss-eyed.
Oh, you're right in the middle of my screen, so we're fine. I honestly feel like I'm talking directly to you.
I feel like I'm talking to a fucking R2D2.
Not fair. Put me in the middle of the screen then. Quick review then on the pod on Wednesday.
That's a good idea, actually. Why didn't I think of that? There you go. I'm such a novice at this shit. I didn't like when we met. I was a web editor and a writer. I went into this sort of shit.
What did you get brought in to make the website?
Yeah, Bull Street. I got brought in to make a website. They lied to me, essentially. They had a plan for me, and their plan was to get me in front of camera.
Is that actually true? Have they admitted that since?
Yeah, 100. I think no. I've never. No, they kind of just laugh it off. But I know that's the truth.
You think that's the truth?
Of course it is, because I did about fucking 300 videos on Bull Street and there's no website.
Yeah, but I guess. But isn't that? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I'm grateful because building websites is shit and boring, isn't it? And who reads websites anymore?
Yeah, exactly. Is there a website that's become big in the last
Spankwire?
2 years? Pornhub continues to thrive.
You know. Don't you?
I actually have never heard of Spankwire.
You liar.
Is that the one that Chris Pajak was talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The best ones are Spankwire. They are. What's another one? Spank Bang. There's some good stuff on Spank Bang. I think it's got that.
All right. Is that because you can download it and save it for a later date? Is that what I Spank?
I don't know. Can you do that?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Right. Let's. I would quickly. Let's do a review because we can do that each week. That's an easy thing for us to do. Fill our running order. The podcast on Wednesday. I thought it was good. I thought like the first couple felt a bit funny. But the last 2 weeks, I felt like we were kind of hitting our stride again. I thought, if anything, we went a little bit... We may have... Not too far, but we're getting closer to the line this week. There were a few bits that had to be cut out.
Yeah, there was one I said that, the kid upstairs, you'll see it.
Wait, can I play the... Your WhatsApp is the funniest WhatsApp. So I drove round to the guy who edits my stuff, George. And then I had a message from Flav. And... he said this.
Hang on, you got to give him context.
No, this will give it. Well, basically, something that needed to be cut out. We've just done the pod.
Yeah.
Well, mate, I was just thinking, have a listen to that comment I made about the kid upstairs falling over, tripping and dying. Maybe it was too much. Brands look at it; they're not going to like that, are they? I don't know. Up to you.
I don't know. Kids dying. Up to you. Did take it out in the end.
It was on about 8 minutes. 8 minutes. I was watching it and I was like, has he taken it out? Has he taken it? Yeah, it's gone. Basically, what's happening when we record the pod, there's a kid upstairs in James's flat and he is literally standing over where we record and jumping up and stamping on the ground because he knows we're trying to work. And I was just saying that our lives would be easier if an accident happened and he fell over and bumped his head and died. I'm not saying I wanted it to happen. It's just that would make our lives a bit easier.
True. And this is a faceless child. We've never seen the child. We'd have no real strong connection. It's a hologram, a loud hologram in our minds at the moment.
Do you know with the pods, like hard for me to review the pods because I don't think about them the minute I leave.
I like that. I like that you're like that. I don't really think about it either. Do you know what? That's really nice now. Like even this with doing a Skype, I was like, is there a couple of things you want to talk about? But I know it'll be fine. Like we've done, because I got into a bit of a wormhole yesterday, and actually I watched one UFG video, and now I'm getting recommended the others.
What's UFG?
So UFG was a series that we had on Bull Street. That was the Ultimate Football Gaming Championships, which is a format that I thought up, and I promise you, all you guys who like our stuff, go and watch that series. One, the people that are in it. But two, it's hilarious.
Jim, you know what you can do in Patreon? You can upload the episodes, so you can link them and they'll appear inside Patreon, so you don't have to go looking for it. So just like do first 4, and then they can go in their own wormhole. It is funny and it is good, Jim. And what people need to know at the time is that we're at Bull Street and we were trying to find ways. Our job essentially was to build that channel for it to compete with other big channels like Fremantle's. What do they have? Football Republic.
Yeah, TFR / football as well.
Proper, yeah. So our job was a very difficult one. It was to grow and compete with those. And so me and Jim, we weren't from YouTube background, were we?
No.
So we really were kind of pissing in the dark a little bit. We were just trying things. And Jim had this idea called the
UFG, Ultimate Football Gaming Championships.
And I think, by and large, everybody who heard that idea hated it. But Jim, to his credit, saw it through. And when you're watching it, you might think that this is quite a kind of simple thing to do. It was not simple. There were cameras everywhere. We had what did we have, like a pre-match chat.
Yeah,
There was a post-match chat. There was a face-off. There was so much into it. It was so complex, which is the way James works. He will do it. I don't think you do, mate. I think you do. You do what you think is necessary to make something as good as possible, and that's really admirable. Whereas I'm like, how do I get away with doing the least amount of possible with the maximum impact? And I think together,
yes,
there is a nice.
I agree, because I think,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you won't put up a fight, and I need that.
Of course, mate. Jim, always do what you think, right? And I'll run with you. All right,
mate. I've
partly because I love you, also because I don't care enough.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
True. We did have a thing quite often that was like, I'll have an idea for, like, say this or do this, and you'll go. It got to a point where I was like, just do it, just trust me, and it'll come out like.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what's lucky as well, is that like our tone of humour is like, it is in line with each other. Like, it's a little bit different, but it's still in line with each other. So anything I do, you can trust that it's not. It's not going to be totally. It'll probably be either self-deprecating or the opposite, but you know that you're being arrogant on purpose or whatever.
Yeah.
It generally worked. But I found that with other people that I've worked with, that sometimes you don't have that that fit.
Yeah, I've always when everything I've done with the fighting cock and everything is I let people get on with what they got to do. What is everybody best at? And you go and do that, and I'm not going to step on your toes. Like the designers I work with, I don't like everything that they produce, but it's their creative realm, and I'm not going to step into that, because if I do, I'm going to hinder them, and I'm going to
hinder. Isn't it? Also in UFG.
Yeah, the hinder. Oh,
It's a fucking genius.
Can't explain all this stuff.
I'll post it to you.
Have a little look. Whoops, after this goes up, and you'll understand what it means. But yeah, hinder. But yeah, if you stop, like, and this goes to anybody watching this, right? If you're trying to do something creative, you've got to surround yourself by people who can help you, because you can't do everything, and you can't do everything well. Like, I'm not a graphic designer, and I can't draw, and I'm not very good technically, right? I can't edit films, for example. I struggle with that. I hate it. I surround myself with people who can, and then just let them go. If they do something that I really hate, then I just don't use them again in the future. But I definitely don't step on their toes as they're trying to be creative. And the same goes for you, Jim. It's like, if you do what you do really well, who am I to sort of say, make your life a little bit more difficult? We're just trying to get on, aren't we?
Yeah, totally. But it's good. It's you kind of start to learn to figure out and accept what I think that was definitely a problem I had, is I wanted to be good at everything. But then if you're trying to be good at everything all the time, then you're just like, you're not really getting anywhere. I think that's one thing that
like Stevie Wonder then.
Yeah. Oh, one thing we need to do with Discord is I want to react to videos that people send to us, because that was your idea, a really good idea. And I saw this thing about e-boys. Have you heard about e-boys?
No.
So Cody Coes, this YouTuber, I really like.
You love it, didn't you?
Yeah. He did this video, and basically e-boys are these like TikTok. Have you heard of TikTok?
Yeah.
These TikTok guys who basically just sort of like flirt in front of a camera, and it's so cringeworthy.
I know what you mean. They sort of bite their lip, and they're like, as if they're like God's gift to women. But really, they're aiming themselves at, probably, like, a lot of it's borderline statutory, because these girls are going to be young.
They're just confusing 14-year-old girls.
Exactly that.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And I think I'd love to be there when you see that kind of stuff, because I think you get really angry.
So in the comments of this video, you can do it in Patreon. In the comments of this video, list us things that you want us to Google or watch on YouTube together and react to.
The one that I think you have seen it before, but one I hadn't seen was the Greek Stars in Their Eyes, where a blonde woman, white woman, plays Stevie Wonder.
She sings in a really sort of weird English accent as well, if I remember rightly.
It's
mate,
it's so good. Because the best bit of it is she gets walked out by the store manager.
It's not necessary.
And she comes out, and then she's going, "Oh, where's the computer?" pretending to be blind, and then she's like trying to sort the mic out, but she needs to move the stand, so she goes, She looks at the stand for a second, and then when the music hits, it's like so funny, man. So bad, so good.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So
one of those things. Sorry, Jim. One of the things that you forced me to do that I didn't feel comfortable doing when we were at Ball Street was I can't remember what it was, but it was like we had to make 3 arguments for why this player is going to be the next wonder kid. Is it you decide?
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously, as has become especially apparent, I don't really know that much about football. I know a lot about Spurs and kind of the game of football. I understand, but what's happening outside of my football club is sometimes a struggle for me. So I'm definitely not going to know anything about Jesus or Jesus, however you want to pronounce his name. He's coming over from, where did he come from? Santos, some whatever.
Brazil, Palmeiras, maybe.
Right. I'm not going to know I didn't know anything about him, and I had to sit and give this impassioned argument about Jesus is going to be the next wonder kid in the Premier League.
I remember that.
It was so awkward. I was just like, I don't know what I'm saying. I could be talking utter bollocks.
Actually, that's worth people remembering as well, especially with, say, like pundits and things like that. Often, things like I do it a bit. I don't watch every single Premier League game, so you do the work, and that's part of it, and that's important. But I work with someone to get a load of stats that I can use to kind of help illustrate different things. So a lot of these players, I might as well name it. Someone told me about was it Martin Keown? There was, I don't know if it was on one occasion or if this is a regular thing. This might be a one-off, but there was something where he literally knew nothing about this subject that we was talking about. I think it was Arsenal. I think he hadn't seen the game or something, and then was doing.
I remember. I remember
who told me this, but yeah.
You
get given stats, don't you?
Christian Hennig. He, as we all know, is a lovely man. I work with him on a weekly basis now for Fighting Cock. He part of one of his jobs was to write fact packs for football for pundits, and one of the people that you write for would be Ian Wright. You can't expect these pundits to know everything, and that's why I think people get so angry at pundits, where they're like, they don't know anything about the football club, and it'll be better if fans on it because at least they know about their football club. But how can they know everything? If they did, they probably would be the most boring person on earth.
That's true, and it would just be really weird.
Yeah,
really, really weird. and there's so much information out there.
Just reckon, Christian Hennig isn't the most boring person on earth. He's a lovely man.
No. His articles have a look at the sort of the human psyche of it with football as well, and it comes from this. The reason I love Christian stuff is because often it comes from this point of like trying to understand him, not trying to label or decide what someone is like. That's why I like. It's almost like because he's so kind. I think he looks into that as well.
He's a lovely man.
That said, I did message him last week going, I was just thinking of you. How are you getting on in New York? Nothing. So.
Oh no, he's changed his number.
Well.
I did that too. And I wasn't.
Why hasn't he sent me that?
That's a good point. I could probably bring him into this conversation.
Tell me your Peckham story.
Yeah. So when I left you the other day, I was that fucking Peckham right is the worst train station on earth for getting into Victoria for some reason for me. Every time I go there, I've got to wait 20 minutes. Trains have been cancelled, delayed. Right. So I was fucked off anyway. And there was about 6 people on the actual platform, not that many. And there was a pretty girl sitting down. And this weird bloke just came in. He was quite short, but very, very stocky. And he went in.
It wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. And he went up to this girl, and I had my earphones on. And I, just in case you didn't know what earphones were, and
excuse me, let me talk to you.
Yeah, it weren't like that. No, he was mid-30s. I wanted to say very dark, like Greek maybe, and it weren't like one of them chirping girls things. It was weird. And he went up to her and he said, "Oh, you've got something on your forehead." And she was like, "Oh, no, I'm okay." And he went to put comb her hair behind her ear, which you're invading somebody's personal space, male or female. You're invading their space. So that's one point. Second, she's a girl on her own.
Yeah.
Pretty much on a deserted train station. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this and I saw her recoil and I'm like instinctively just walked towards it, took 2 steps towards it. And as soon as I'd done it, he's turned on me straight away, looked at me and was like, he's just like, said, what do you want? What's this got to do with you? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know her. I'm just making sure she's okay. And she stepped and goes, "What, do you want to fucking fight? I'll fucking knock you out.
What?
I'm ex Royal Marine. You don't want to fuck with me." And I said, "Look, mate, I'm no issue with you. I just want to make sure she's okay because she's on her own. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you're doing anything. She's on her own, and that's just where I'm coming from."
Yeah.
And he took another step forward, and I put my hand on his chest because I won't let him get.
Wow, he got that close.
Yeah, really close, really
Oh my
close.
God.
And I've seen enough.
I'm amazed you went like that. You put your hand on his chest. Oh, because he was getting so close that you had to.
Yeah, because I didn't instigate this. He stepped towards me and invaded my personal space.
Right.
And I've seen enough street fights and shit happening in the late night in Hackney when he used to go out that if you let someone that close, the next thing that's going to come is a headbutt or a punch or anything. So just keeping my distance so that didn't happen. And somehow I managed to talk him round and say, "Look, this isn't necessary at all." And in the end, he's like shaking my hands. Like, "Oh, no worries." So the geezer's clearly unhinged.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and I was thinking to myself, like, it was the right thing to do, but
Yeah, well done.
yeah, but not like that. I mean, it's it's instinctive. I've thought about it again. Like, I'm thinking, this guy could have had a knife. He could have had anything. He was unhinged, so if he had a knife, he could have snapped and stabbed me, and I'd be dead. And I'm thinking, I've got like my missus and kids, and you're doing stuff like that, and like, it's the right thing to do, but it's not always the most sensible thing.
Yeah.
Because how do you gauge that? You can only go by how you instinctively react, but how do you gauge weigh up the pros and cons? Because the reality of that is that he would have made her uncomfortable, and he would have nothing would have happened in a weird situation, and that's that. But because I stepped forward, it escalated, and
it's a tough call, isn't it? Because you've also the problem is, like, I have that fam sort of tries to educate me on that a lot of the time. Like when I walk to the station, I don't think, I'm not worried, I'm fine. Like whatever time, like I got home the other night, I was walking through the streets at like 12:30. Didn't think about it because I'm double art. But
of course.
But fam would never do that. Most women spend so much time nervous, worried that something could happen because of the physicality that men have generally over women.
Yeah.
And that's just that's a really tough thing for women to have to deal with all the time. So I get but if you're a nice bloke and you've got the possibility of kind of helping in that way, then you
should.
You are attracted to that, I think. Not in any kind of sort of ego way. You just want, it's that sense of justice, I guess.
Well, the way I looked at it is, I was, with hindsight, is I was less vulnerable than she was. However, I was vulnerable because I didn't know what he's capable of or what he's willing to do, and he didn't look right. So I don't know. It's a tough one. But, George Orwell. Let me Google this because I don't want to butcher it. But this is like a very grand version of what happened.
Because the thing for you as well is, and my mate, I've got a mate who was always the guy who'd jump in the river or jump off of whatever, jump in a skip, do stupid stuff. And then he became a dad and he was like, I just your mindset totally changes, I'd imagine. And so that's another thing for you. I think I would go, without having kids or whatever, I would probably look to do the same thing as you. But that is the bottom line for you is that your kids are more important than this stranger who's feeling a bit uncomfortable. But you can't have that kind of perspective in that moment in time. It's too tough. No,
of course. With hindsight, you don't. You just react how you naturally react. But and if people don't do anything, then what happens? This is a quote. It was attributed to Edmund Burke, included by John F. Kennedy in a speech in 1961. And it said the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And what he was talking about is things like, if you turn a blind eye when you could do something, then evil will try. And that's not what I did there. This is one good versus evil. That's stupid because there's loads of reasons why this guy's ended up in this situation. You don't behave that way without something negative happening to you in the past. Everybody is a product of everything that they've happened to them and every decision they've ever made. So there's reasons why people do what they do. It's just that it's a bit scary. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm not into violence in any way really, and the price of it. Because I don't know if I've ever told you this. My cousin Andrew, he died in a street fight when he was 17.
Really, I
He
didn't know.
no, yeah, he was basically bottled and then kicked when he was down, and he passed away a few months later. Um, and yeah, since then, obviously, I've been acutely aware of how easily something like that can happen.
Yeah, I think as
But
well now, like especially in London, but I'd imagine everywhere, like it really escalates really quickly. Like I've seen that even just there's a long road from Victoria through to Peckham, and you just kind of go through Camberwell and Oval and different bits, and on a few occasions I've seen like fights kicking off and stuff like that, just on that road, like, and it's like escalates quickly. And I've got a mate as well who's a policeman, and he says like the knife crime, the fact that every kid's got a knife, like
yeah,
so many of these kids have got knives, just because both self-defense, like you're saying, because you don't know what the other guy's like, but also people who would just want it for some kind of status or whatever. It's like it's a mad time. It's a really mad time.
yeah, yeah. When I went to Spurs the other night by Munich, I overheard two kids talking about them having knives, carrying knives at that moment, and so Spurs, but by Munich, and then this kid was walking along, and he was talking about having a blade, and he was skinny and little and young, and
Really?
kind of couldn't be much older than 11, 12. And he was talking about I pulled this blade out, and this skinny youth ran when he saw my braid. He's a fucking pussy hole in it, and I'm like, Jesus, man, that's how people live. And like I look at my kids going into school and stuff, and I'm like, they're so fucking lucky that they can live here.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah, don't have to worry about any of that shit. Anyway, just watching a Arsenal fan TV video then.
Oh, what, the one that the boys sent around?
Yeah, the rap, the car getting wrapped. I didn't watch it all.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be watching. Not for me, that
Yeah.
one, I'm afraid. Don't know anything about that nonsense. Let's talk about real issues like Colleen Rooney accusing Rebecca Vardy of leaking stories to the press.
It was so good when that dropped. That I was on Twitter when it dropped, and it was like I saw it when it must have had like only like 1,000 likes or somting.
And it's the
like-
last line, isn't it? It's the last line of the thing. She knows
It's
which.
beautiful.
Why is she putting all those dots? It's ... Rebecca Vardy's account. It's just like
It's so weird. Like, and her reaction was, what was it? It was lots of people have access to my account, and following people that I didn't know, and it's just like it's your responsibility, love. Like that's your account.
so. Yeah,
That's where the leaks were
so
coming
for
from.
people
It's
who
on-
have a life or read better things than this, basically, Colleen Rooney has been suspicious about someone leaking stuff to the Sun newspaper in particular.
stories.
Stories, and
It's
she
just on
went-
a private Instagram account.
Yeah, it's quite clever though. She was like, so she blocked basically everyone from viewing her Instagram stories, and then kept doing a few and fake ones to see if they then got put out into the ether.
Yeah.
And there was only one account that was left, and the stories kept coming out, and that account was
Rebecca Vardy.
Rebecca Vardy, who's then gone on to say that why would I do that? I'm totally wadded.
Because your motives aren't about money. It's about being a spiteful cow.
Yep.
And hurting other people because you're probably jealous.
Yep.
So yeah, no one thought that this was about money. No, I didn't look and go, oh, she must be hard up because Jamie Vardy's like, he's definitely not a millionaire, is he? So, this is about you being a spiteful cow. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there isn't a world where her version isn't true. And
if you're Colleen Rooney, right, how do you get vengeance but not look also like a spiteful cow?
She got it. She went first. She got it. People are on her side here. She wins. There's nothing, and people. She hasn't got a great reputation either. This one.
Rebecca Vardy, no.
No, and Jamie Vardy, pretty grim, isn't he?
Do you know what, someone was telling me apparently he is like the Godfather at Leicester. Like, if he doesn't like you, then like you're gone, you're out. Apparently that's what happened with Ranieri, and that's why like Brendan Rodgers is just like very careful with him. It's made him like the main man.
Is he captain?
Was the main man. I don't know actually. But yeah, apparently he's got a lot of power there. I was just like, so yeah, I was one. Why are these people famous? That's what that annoys me. They're famous because they're. I think that's if you're like a feminist, then you're just like, this is just dragging us. This is dragging us backwards. You would think that two people are getting such spotlight, and they're two women who don't always get that spotlight, and it's about catty diva nonsense.
Yeah, but this isn't about them. It's not their fault that people are obsessed with this shit.
But yes, I think they're just like in life. They're for me a frustration at times is things that get, and I know that I understand the reasons why, but the things that get the spotlight aren't the things that are worthy of it. And these two.
Yeah, but it's tabloid. It's gutter press, isn't it?
I know.
And you know this already. It's frustrating. Of course, the Sun newspaper shouldn't be the best-selling newspaper in Britain. It shouldn't be, but it is, because that's what we are. That's who we are. That's what our society wants and it craves for. Because fundamentally, we're scum. we get the news stories we deserve.
Gossip. No, we do love
we get the government we deserve. We get the news stories we deserve, and we get the life that we deserve mostly. But by the time you're 40, actually that's unfair. That's very unfair, because shit can happen to you that controls the environment around you. But ultimately you're here because of every decision you've made, and every decision you've made has been influenced by the world that surrounds you. So it is a bit of a catch-22. But it's people that there are a lot of people out there that kind of blame their life on everybody else, and not knowing that they have the power within them to change it, and you can get help.
I imagine, and this is probably unfair, but I'm going to say it, I imagine both of these two have very difficult lives behind closed doors, very unhappy, unfulfilled lives behind closed doors.
Of course, yeah, and they get solace in these things, really.
I think they get solace. That's the bad side of women as well. Is like this sort of the catty like nonsense. Like
not all women.
No. Of course, not all women, but it can be. It's the difference between. That is one of the differences with a lot of sort of male to male interactions, and then women. Like, it's a lot more catty. Like when we talk about it with, like, for example, I was telling you off Skype. I'd had a little bit of a grievance with someone at work, but I literally picked up the phone, spoke to him, and it was done.
Sorted
it. And I knew it would be before I made the call. I knew it was going to be fine, because it was just about, right, this is how I feel. Yeah, well, this is how I feel. Oh, okay, I get it. Do you get it?
Yeah,
I get it. Whereas with girls, it doesn't. It just often with girls, it doesn't work like that.
Well,
well,
do you with Colleen Rooney? She didn't have to do what she did. She didn't have to post it.
That's it.
The correct thing would have been to say, look, this is fucked. Call her up and say, what's going on here? Because are you doing this? And if so, if she says, yeah, I'm doing it, then you're within your rights, I guess, to, if this is how you're built and you feel that this is right, to come out on Twitter. But I think Rebecca Vardy probably was in her rights to say you should have picked up the phone.
So, because that's the thing for me, right? The reason that she tweeted it out, right? That says something about her. That she, deep down, she couldn't resist the temptation to get the attention for it, because she knows that she's going to get that attention for it.
Yeah,
although she is in the right, and she thought she's safe. She thinks she's safe. She thinks she's in the right. She probably is overall, but they both look pathetic.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what else to say, man. It's not something I like. To be honest, I was when he broke, I was like fascinated by it. I did read everything, and the fucking what is great. There are not many things great about Twitter, but people's reactions to this shit through GIFs
and stuff.
That's gold. There's absolutely gold. The best one, the Antonio Banderas one, where he's looking at his screen from a film and he just goes like this. He goes,
yeah. It's so sweet.
yeah. I love that. I was cracking up at that. But that's the thing is, the reaction to this isn't. Most people don't give a shit either way.
No.
They just find it funny. They find it funny.
Yeah, you're right. But that's I literally just looked at. I've got the article here, and I was just scrolled down to, and it was a picture of Wayne and Clean, and like imagine like bumping into them as a couple. You would just the face I made as I looked at it. I would go, right, guys, everything all right?
Yeah.
Like, how many times has he cheated? Like, how many times did it come out? The fact that those two are still together is confusing.
It's not, is it? Because what the alternative? Although to be fair, she's probably a millionaire in her own right. You know, she had a clothing label and all that kind of stuff. If she ever gets divorced, she's going to be absolutely fine.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess she's done the hard yards now. She might as well stick it out.
Definitely. Or maybe Jim called it. This might be crazy. Maybe she loved him and has forgiven him.
Maybe.
How you love that potato head is beyond me. But
No.
Deep down, he might be a really lovely man who shagged a prostitute. But don't we all, time to time?
Of course. Any more? Anything else you want to talk about?
Any more? Well, yeah, there's heavy fighting as Turkey pushes into North Syria.
There's what?
I'll read it out again. Heavy fighting as Turkey pushes into North Syria.
Really?
Tens of thousands of people flee as the operation in Kurdish-held areas enters its second day, Jim.
See, but we haven't got time for that. And that's the world we're living in.
It is because I could read the article, but I'd rather read about Colleen. And that is a shame, isn't it? It shows you how disgusting we are.
Lovely little twist there at the end.
Horrible. We are the AIDS virus, human beings on this planet. We're cancer. You know how cancer rips through a human body? This is what we're doing to our planet.
One tweet at a time.
One tweet at a time. All right. That feels like it's all right, Jim. I think. Let's see what they say.
To catch up. Guys. Let's thank you first of all for being $10 patrons. We really do appreciate it. It's very.
So hang on, we're having this hour-long conversation for 9 people.
Yeah. Currently, tell your friends. Tell people what great value this is.
Definitely do that because that's the only way people will find out about it.
It's probably more than 9.
I think.
Just.
Yeah.
11.
11. Good. 11. That's $110.
Yeah. That's kind of worth it.
That's good. It definitely is worth it.
Yeah.
It's
and
nice.
at least we can just have a chat, which is nice.
Yeah. I'm presuming that this is all right for Mohammed and Owen and the other people you named.
In what sense?
They're enjoying this, really.
Well, yeah, I guess what we can now do is we can answer their questions weekly, as well as just talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Absolutely. If any question they put down, we will, or anything they want us to talk about, or anything, pretty much we'll do.
Well, yeah.
On a web, anything you can do on
anything you can think of on a
webcam. Yeah. You know, if this Patreon stuff fails, we could start up an OnlyFans. You know what that is?
No, what's that?
What was a little smile for you?
I honestly, because I know it's probably something to do with
you dirty little pig.
I honestly don't know what it is.
You know what else I've noticed? What else I've noticed is what I'm looking at now, and what you're looking at now is what the laptop sees when I knock one out.
Do you know what? I've actually, I'm starting to put it on an angle.
Just put a bit of tape on like that.
Yeah, I know. But that's how lazy I am. I really should do that. Actually, I think I've got some blue about here. Actually. Oh, I have. Brilliant.
I know. I'm generally worried about that sort of stuff.
What a great way to end. Right. So I hope you've had a really good.
Yeah.
Enjoy this guy.
Dirty little pigs.
Yeah, dirty pigs. Every single one of you. Thank you very much. We'll see you again soon.
See ya.
Bye.